If you have found my YouTube channel, it's probably because you're in the acting world or you want to be a part of the acting world. I'm going to do something as someone who is very in the acting world finds a little cringe. I'm going to talk about a past booking. Why is this cringe? It feels weird to discuss past bookings in detail because they were so long ago. And there's a trope about actors, about living in the past and not moving forward. But I also think there's a lot of lessons that can be learned from the past. And it was such a unique experience. Every single time we're on set is different in a different way. I think it's important for us to reflect on it, one, just as humans in general, and two, to talk about it, because there might be something in this process that you guys learn. So today we are going to talk about my booking as the four-armed alien waitress from the show, The Orville. Seth MacFarlane directed and wrote the show, and it was a dream scenario to get to meet him, work with him, be a part of the cast and crew, be on this major studio production. So I'm going to take you start to finish, from the audition to the ADR experience entirely after filming to the episode actually airing. Let's do it. The year is 2021. I had signed with an agent in January, and I had been auditioning very consistently since she signed me, going and going and going, still my agent right now. It was such a busy time period. My brain was working in a great way. Every time I got an audition, I thought, how can I make this as fun as possible? What can I do with this? How is this character different from the last thing I auditioned for? That is the gift of auditioning again and again and again, which is not really how our landscape has been in the past couple of years. So this was the last time I was really in this kind of role. So if you haven't experienced this before as an actor, it comes in waves. At that time, I got another audition from my agent. It was for a co-star, and it was one line, which for some people, they're like, ugh, why would I even bother doing this? But I saw what show it was for, who the showrunner was, Seth MacFarlane, and what the character was, and I thought, oh, this is cool. So then I did my script analysis, which, if you guys are a part of my Patreon, I have a whole podcast breaking down the script analysis class I took. Even before that, I understood what this character's role was inside of the audition. And let me explain this to you, and then I'll show you the audition. It's one line. I thought, what can I do with this that is different? Not different per se, but what would Sam do? And I thought, well, she's a four-armed alien waitress. Is she tired from her shift? Is she exhausted? Wait, it's a party ordering a bunch of shots. That actually could be a good thing for her tip. Like, all of these things went through my head for a one-line co-star. And then I made the realization that really sealed the deal for me, and that was that this character wasn't so important that she was serving the guests in the scene. This character was important because she had four arms. She was a set piece in this show. It's like a show-off character, just to show that they can do it. It's the kind of thing money can buy when you have a network, a studio behind you. It's cool when you get to do it. If you guys have not yet delved into the acting world, if you're not actively in it, my agent sends me an email. It has the details of the project and the sides attached. The sides are the lines you will perform for the self-tape or for the in-person audition, if that's an option. At this time, it was requested self-tape, and it had one section of the script. It was just 3 or 4 lines, one of which belonged to my character. That's it. That is all that was on the page. I got no other information, no true character breakdown, nothing. Sometimes you will get more information for a project depending on what it is. Every once in a while you get the full script, typically not for film and television because they move so quickly. But for this particular project, I was given the details of the show and those few lines cut from the script. And that was it. Along with that, my agent gives me a timeline in order to film the audition. You film it at home as a self-tape, and then you turn it back into them, typically via email over EcoCast, which is connected to Actors Access. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch this video I did all about the acting platforms. And I also send a WeTransfer. The WeTransfer, it's a really simple website. You just log onto it. You guys have probably all used it. You just drop a bunch of files in, and then you can get a link to send to your reps. That way, no matter what, they have it on file. I also save my auditions. Should we talk about tracking auditions at some point? Comment below if you want me to talk about tracking auditions, how and why it's helpful. So that was the process of getting the audition. Now let's talk about delving into the lines I was given for this character. So my big aha moment was realizing that this character actually played a piece of presentation. There is a vibe. It was a nightclub scene. After watching the show, I realized that they're typically in one place with occasional jump arounds to other places. So a lot of this show takes place inside of this ship, and then they sometimes jump around to other planets. Typically on these other planets, they use exterior visuals to establish the different areas they're at. So I thought, well, if it's kind of a set piece of a character, if they're going to present themselves and really show what a bar is like in space for a party, perhaps I should try and find a way to be a four-armed alien waitress. So I called my friend Molly and I said, hey Molly, yeah, I was just wondering if you could swing by later tonight and be an extra set of arms in my audition. Now my friend Molly is also an actor, so she got exactly what I was saying. Yeah, 6 is great. Okay, great. I'll see you then. Bye. And then I went about figuring out how to do this. So with the one line, my character is just delivering drinks. If I want her to have 4 arms, how could I make that happen? So I moved my desk into my self-tape space. So there was a flat area in front of my self-tape. I positioned my camera so you saw my waist and up. And I filled 4 different glasses with very bright colored food coloring so that they all looked like they were glowing. I made myself look as much like an alien as possible, including like a one-armed strap. And then I had Molly come in, sit underneath the desk, and pop up as 2 arms. So whenever I served the drinks, by the time I got to the self-tape spot in the middle, there was 4 arms. So this is what my audition looked like.
All right, guys, I got 4 more quantum bombs. Thank you. Yeah, you bet. Enjoy.
That was it. That was what I turned in. I sent it to my agents, and that weekend I actually left to go visit a friend. So I went out of town. I showed it to my friends while I was out of town because I thought it was so funny. I remember thinking, God, that was really fun. That was a really fun tape to do. I think it took us maybe 30 minutes. By the way, God bless Molly, because she's a tiny little friend of mine and her arms are only so high. So we had to film it like 3 times. And I kept asking her, can you reach just a little higher? Just a little higher. So she nailed it. I think I took her to dinner to celebrate once I booked it. Newsflash, I booked it. Obviously, this video is talking about a booking. A few days later, I got a call from my agent. Hey, you are pinned for the role of four-armed alien waitress. And I was like, cool. She was like, I'll let you know as soon as it's confirmed. I was like, great. That's all you do. You just wait. Pinned is like, hey, we like you. Don't go anywhere. We're pinning you. It's like a very old term. I think it came from like pinning a headshot to a cork board, like we're pinning them, put a pin in it. I could have made that up in my head. Anyway, 2 hours later, my agent calls back. Hey, great, you're confirmed. It's like, hell yeah. And she said, oh yeah, the booking date, by the way, is in a month. And I was like, did I just book a co-star? A one-line co-star? 1 month from now? That's very weird. Typically, when you book these things, they happen within the next week. Like the turnaround for these is so fast. And so when she said it was in 1 month, I was like, wait a second. I'm visiting my parents next week. I have this and I have that. And she was like, the shoot dates aren't till June. This was May. And I said, okay, all right, we'll see what happens. I proceeded to need to go to set every single week for 3 weeks. Because of wardrobe. So every single week for 3 weeks, I got to go to 21st Century Fox in Culver City and have a wardrobe fitting. But at the time, this was when we were heavy COVID testing. So in order to go see wardrobe for 2 days prior, I had to COVID test. You had to test negative 3 days in a row in order to be a part of set. So I would come in on Monday, COVID test, drive home. Come in on Tuesday, COVID test, drive home. Come in on Wednesday, COVID test, go see wardrobe. You know what the crazy thing was? We got paid for every single COVID test. As we should. Our union set it up that we were paid for COVID testing because it took a big chunk out of my day to drive across town, get tested, come back. And they made it very seamless. I ended up testing negative the whole time, so woohoo. And wardrobe was very specific because the costume was specific. And coolest part, I had a second human who was attached to me who was the arms. Along with meeting with wardrobe and doing all of that COVID testing, we also had to meet with a choreographer. Because when you're trying to pull off a cool multi-armed thing and the actor behind you is your second set of arms, there's choreography to it. And due to guidelines and how everything works on set, they hired a choreographer to do this. So she ended up wearing a full green screen outfit, and then her arms were done up just like mine. So weird. Along with twice weekly COVID testing, plus getting fitted for wardrobe, plus meeting with a choreographer, My character of an alien also had contact lenses. So they sent me to an eye doctor and specifically had me fitted for specific contact lenses for my alien. And you know what was cool? I got a free eye exam. That worth so much already. I didn't have good insurance at the time. So I got to see an awesome doctor, got a free eye exam, got some sample contacts, and it was rad. And they fitted me specifically for my character's contacts because there's different types of contact lenses. And this eye doctor is specifically known for doing all of the fittings of characters in big shows. Like they do all of the contact lenses for Pirates of the Caribbean, for example. So that was really cool. I actually started going to them just recently because they're under my new insurance. So I went back to this doctor because I liked him so much. So I've now seen a doctor, a choreographer, wardrobe people, and countless COVID people. And every time I went to one of these things, I got paid. That is the gift of union acting, by the way, is that like you're taken care of for all the things that take you out of your daily routine. And I have to say, I felt like a rock star this whole time because although it was just a co-star, it was something that was keeping me very busy. And it kept me going to set and having appointments and running around town this whole time. Let's go to the actual week of shooting. The day before the actual shoot date, we are called in, myself and my second set of arms, and we are asked to meet with the choreographer, and we do the whole routine, which we figure out how we're going to hold trays and cups and all of these things. It was a very, very interesting process because we needed to move arms without running into each other's arms. I needed to hold a tray and pick up my own cup, and she needed to pick up a cup without hitting my arm because she was just wrapped around me, and so she couldn't see what she was grabbing. This sounds crazy when you say it out loud, but that's our job. So while doing this whole process, I show up to set, meet the choreographer. They put me in the full outfit to do the test. They put me in a wig cap because I'm going to have a big headpiece the day of. I know nothing further. That's it. And we do the test and they're like, all right, let's bring Seth over to show it to him. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And so now, first time in my life, I worked with a true choreographer on a set. I'm doing it in front of Seth MacFarlane. Okay, all right. Hope that worked. Because I am not a dancer, ladies and gentlemen. And this was some dancey shit. I was also in big, thick heels. Like we were working every angle of Sam Valentine. Did it all, got the approval, great. Next day, go into set, show up bright and early. Fabulous. They put me in a wig cap. They put all this hair in a wig cap, and then they leave me to hair and makeup first. Sam, thank you for being here. We're going to have you get dressed first. Okay, cool. Go to my dressing room. You know, it's really cool when you get to set and you've been to wardrobe fittings multiple times. Your clothes are waiting in the closet for you. That's the coolest feeling. It's like, wow, they prepped this room just for me. And sometimes they leave out like water and snacks, and then they'll put their contract on the table for you. It's like, oh, how they just like really thought of me in this room. So I go to my trailer. I get fully dressed. I'm then escorted because for some reason as actors, you're escorted everywhere. I think they're terrified that we're just going to wander off somewhere. So they escort me. An awesome PA takes me to hair and makeup where I work with Oscar-winning hair and makeup artists, which is so rad. And they do full body paint and then they lacquer on this big headpiece that weighed, I think, 20 pounds. And it had all these little tendrils coming off of it. And it took probably a little bit over an hour. They took pictures. They sent them in the Seth for approval. We got approval. They wanted more makeup under the arms because it was so much about the arm. And then my specific eye person showed up. So not only do I have all these people working with me for this specific moment, I now have an eye person who's in charge, who's from the contact lens department. They put the contact lenses in my eyes for me, and then they proceed to follow me around for the rest of the day. And about every 15 to 20 minutes, they give me eye drops because these contact lenses are like they're massive and they cover your whole eye. So you get very dry. And so they just follow me around all day and put drops in my eyes. This is some service. It was pretty exceptional. So after getting full hair and makeup and wardrobed and costumed and contact lensed, we're good. We're ready to go. This is the final outcome. This is what my character looked like. How rad is she? That is a damn cool four-armed alien waitress. Then they drive me to set. They introduce us to set. They show everything that's going on, and then they bring in all the extras because it's a huge party scene. There was so many people in there. Keep in mind, it's still COVID time. So when we weren't shooting, everyone had to put back on a mask. I didn't put back on a mask because I was in full face paint and body paint. So I just held up one of those mask things they give you, like a face shield. It was a wild time. There's like 50, 60 extras. There's us being carted around. My actress behind me, who was my set of arms, who's in an entirely green screen outfit, and half the time we're filming, she can't see. They're trying to keep the entire video village, which is all of the producers and the director and everyone who's so important to the show, away from the room full of actors because we're in a sound stage and it's just a lot of people breathing and like we just didn't know about COVID. So Seth MacFarlane isn't even on set. He's like back behind the set in Video Village where they're watching every take and he has a big microphone that he's talking into. It was the wildest thing. And I think we ran the scene maybe 10 times tops. Then they brought in the lead actors. So this is all the stars of the show and all the people that we were interacting with. And they were just so kind and so lovely. I was so honored to work with them because they were also sweet, especially on a show that had multiple seasons. It was like their home base and I was a guest, an intruder. You know, when you're a co-star or a guest star and someone else is a series regular, that's their home base and you're stepping in. So they made me feel like I was a part of the team, which was so kind because they didn't need to go the extra mile. They were working. It was a Wednesday for them. So we finally get to filming. All the extras are going. They have all this big loud music on. And while the music is going, they pause it in the middle just before the lines are said, because that way they can make sure they get the lines, but they still get the energy from the crowd. It's a wild thing if you've ever been a part of a crowd scene, because they'll try and keep you up and going. And so my character comes around with the cups. I think we filmed, after those initial like 8 or 10 run-throughs, I think we actually filmed maybe 6 or 8 times. Maybe. We took a break. We went to lunch. We had to eat in our own separate trailers because once again, it was COVID. We all ate in our own trailers. I did my best to make sure I didn't get any food on my very gorgeous costume. They touched up my makeup again, sent me back to set. I think we did 3 more times from another camera angle and they were like, okay, thank you so much. Have a great day. And I was like, oh, bye. We'd been together for a month. And they were sending me off. And I was like, are you sure you don't need me to stick around? It's such an actor thing to be on set and just not want to leave. So I wrapped for the day and I was so thrilled about the project. I was sad because I'd just been on and off set for a month. So it felt like I was a part of something and then it was done. 2 to 3 months later, I get a call. Hey, Sam, they need you to do ADR. They needed me to re-record the line that I said because they wanted it louder. That was it. I'm telling you, like, this is what happens when these shows have real money. They can re-record anything they want to get. I was given a time to go do audio. By the way, another chunk of change. You get paid for this part too. And I was sent to Seth MacFarlane's studio, which is in his house. A really nice house, like really nice. I was sent to his house. I recorded my one line, said it maybe 3 times. They were like, great, thanks so much, Sam. We got it. Zipped out. And that was it. Then I look up the show. When's it going to come out? When are we going to see this? Most shows, you film them, you see them within the next 6 months, maybe 9. 1 year later, when is this show going to come out? I look up the show. I was in episode 11 of the scheduled show, and it's listed as only having 10 episodes now. Shit. Am I never going to see this role? Is it not going to air? Did we waste all that time and money for nothing? This happens all the time. You can never guarantee about the outcome of something. You can just enjoy when you're in the moment. And I tried to, but 2022, I had really quiet year and I was really nervous that the show was never going to come out. Not that it was going to benefit my acting career necessarily, but that I really wanted to see a project I worked on come to fruition. Lo and behold, months later, almost a year and a half, the show finally airs and I get to watch it. It drops all at once on Hulu. And so I immediately go to the last episode and I'm like, please be in, please be in. And she was in it. Oh, I was so excited. All that work, months, and so much money that they put into this particular character. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is what it ended up looking like. It's in my actor reel. But to me, it's a bigger experience than it is footage that is going to like change my actor world. The joy of that time and of that experience and of being on that set and all the back and forth and all of the craziness that it was is more valuable to me than that actual footage. It's interesting how it really turns out because as actors, we think we need the visual proof all the time. And yes, it's great to have, but that's not my highest level of acting. Absolutely not. That's me being an awesome, cool character in an awesome, cool show. So it's just an interesting thing to reflect on, that all of that work sometimes can equal something that isn't going to move the needle, but can still be important to you in the long run. I don't know. Something to think about. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this story. If you like the breakdown of these individual pieces, let me know, and I will do more of them for you. Thanks so much, and I will talk to you very soon.